ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. You are kind of quiet. I should be the one quiet. I'm coming from an airplane. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Pastor, forgive me, my ear still has not opened since coming from 30,000 feet, so I'm hearing from one ear. But inshallah the topic is living in the shade of the Qur'an. And there's a beautiful ayat in Surah Yunus. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُ وبفضل الله ورحمته فبذلك فليفرحوا هو خير مما يجمعون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in Surah Yunus, which is the 10th chapter of the Qur'an, He says وبفضل الله وبرحمته. He says, and in the fadl of Allah, which is the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His mercy, then let them in this thing to celebrate, to be joyous. And this is better than everything that they have amassed. And I used to wonder when I was in school with our teacher, what is fadlullah in this ayah? وَبِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and in the blessing of Allah and in His mercy, and these things let them celebrate. So I used to ask myself this question: what is fadlullah in this ayah? What is the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That Allah is saying that we should celebrate. So I read in the tafsir of Imam Qurtubi, rahimahullah, who was a great scholar of tafsir, and also in the book of Ibn Kathir, a very interesting story. That one time, Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu, he was in his khilafah, in his time of leadership, he was going to Iraq, which is Iraq. And he was going with his servant. So as they were going, they found some beautiful camels. You know, beautiful camels in those days are like a nice Lexus. Nice Lexus in these days. So they found some beautiful camels. And the servant of Umar, he said, هذا من فضل الله ورحمته. This is from, and he used the same word in this ayah, because those people, subhanAllah, even they used to speak with Qur'an. If something happened to them, they related it to Qur'an. So he used the same pattern of this ayah. وبفضل الله ورحمته فبذلك فليفرحوا هو خير مما يجمعون. So he said, هذا من فضل لا ورحمتي. These things are from the blessings of Allah and His mercy. Then Umar radiallahu anhu said, كذبت. You are lying. He said, this is from those things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مما يجمعون. These are from those things which you have collected. But this is not from the fadl of Allah and His rahmah. Then I became more perplexed. I said, why did Umar say this? Then I found the statement of Ibn Abbas, radiyallahu anhu, who said about this verse, Fadlullah wal Qur'an wa rahmatihi أن جعلكم من أهله. Ibn Abbas, he gave me the clear understanding of this verse. He said, the blessing of Allah is what? Who can guess? A, Qur'an. B, Qur'an. C, Qur'an. D, all of the above. Who's going to answer E? We're going to throw him out. It's Qur'an. And the rahmah of Allah is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made you from its people. That He blessed you and chose you to be from the people of the Qur'an. So we're going to talk about, look subhanAllah, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, how they see the Qur'an as fadl, as ni'mah, as blessing. وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ. Remember the blessing of Allah upon you. So we're going to go into the shade of the Qur'an. And actually when I was told that I was going to do this lecture, I became a little bit happy and also a little bit nervous. Because this is the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we're going to talk about. And what I chose to do is just to give you some practical lessons as youth from the Qur'an. Because many times, why are we told to read the Qur'an? Who knows? The negative personification of reading the Qur'an is what? Bismillah. Now, I have one here. Barakah. Your mom and dad, or not your mother and father, don't indict any parents. But when you're a small child, someone has a stick, read the Qur'an, boy. Why? Barakah. Bam! This is Qur'an. Read the Qur'an, girl. Why? Bam! Barakah. That's barakah. It's a headache, man. And we grew up with this understanding of Islam. This cultural outlook of Islam. When someone dies, what happens? Yasin al-Qur'an al-Hakim al-Qur'an. Read Qur'an. Someone's born, read Qur'an. Someone died, read Qur'an. Someone gets married, pay someone to read the Qur'an. One time my wife is from Malaysia, and I had to make maraja of my Qur'an. So I sat in the front of her door, and I had to review actually the juz where Yasin is from. So I was reading Yasin. And being from a revert to Islam, I don't know sometimes the cultural things that are existing amongst Muslim cultures. And the phone started to ring, man, in the house. Did somebody die? Why is the man in front of your house reading the Qur'an? Then my mother-in-law, she came to me, she told me, look, don't do that again. When someone reads the Qur'an in front of someone's house, it means something bad happened. SubhanAllah, this is a Muslim country. Somebody reads the Qur'an, it means something bad happened. So today we're going to take some ibar, some lessons from Qur'an for youth and for old people too. Not so old, mashallah. And before we start, it's kind of just free-flowing lecture. We have to understand the purpose of the Qur'an. Who can tell me the purpose of the Qur'an? Because if I don't understand the purpose of something, I'm not going to know how to approach it. But when I know its purpose, when I know its objective, I'm going to know how to approach it. What's the main goal of the Qur'an? Is what? Guidance. Exactly. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in the Qur'an, the brother said guidance, he's correct. The Qur'an is a guide. That's how it has to be approached. Its job is to guide you. That's why we read in the second chapter of the Qur'an, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. This is a book. In it there's no doubt a guidance for people. You know, to show you this, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Arabic language, but inshallah easy stuff, don't worry. Nobody reads this verse, many people do, but there's a better opinion about it. You can read it like this. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. Some people said, you can read this verse with the following meaning. Try to pay attention. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب. This is the book, no doubt. فيه هدى. In it is guidance. For those who believe, those who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the strong opinion said no. Read it like this. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. This is the book, there's no doubt in it. A guidance. You understand the difference from saying in it is guidance and it is a guidance? Because if you say in it is guidance, it also means what else could be in it?